is your very own Dr Shabina Asad Qayyum for the Body Health and Mind Show on Salam Radio 106.2 FM. It's wonderful to be back for once, after announcing over the last couple of shows that I was going to be back the next week and then would do a disappearing act and would be back after every 4 weeks. But see, I've kept my word this time. So last week when I said that I was going to be here next week, I actually am. It's wonderful to be here listening to you, the wonderful listeners, residents, inhabitants, friends, brothers and sisters of this great city of Peterborough. I'd like to thank you all for tuning in to this show at its new time and day on Monday at 8 p.m. on Salam Radio 106.2 FM. And you know, I always say to you every single week, try to join in. It's wonderful if you could just pick up the phone, speak about your own problems or what your experiences are. Is there something you'd like me to talk about? You don't have to talk on the topic in particular, but if you do have a question about the topic that I'm going to speak about, please feel free to pick up the phone and talk about it. And the way you can do that is by calling us on 01733 602 133. You can text us on the WhatsApp number, which is 074 1119 1062. And you can comment on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. And what I'd like to suggest to all of you that are listening to this right now, and if you're driving home, don't do this. Don't use your mobile phone if you've got Facebook downloaded on your phone. But like the Salam Radio page, this is your community radio station. It's something that we want to promote since it started its inception all those years ago. And we've got a wonderful diverse group of presenters, wonderful shows. We're all volunteers. We do this in our own time, and we are supported by a wonderful radio management. And today we have our station manager called Ali, who's behind the scenes, calling the shots, and he's doing an absolutely wonderful job. So big shout out for Ali. Now, I thought that we would talk about something pertinent to society in general and to Peterborough in general. And I've got a very special guest, and he works very, very hard. He's incredibly active, not just on social media, but throughout our city as well. And he is the director of an organisation called Peterborough Prime. His name is Mr. Nabil Ilahi. Assalamu alaikum, Nabil.
Wa alaikum salam. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you? I was supposed to ask that question first. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, living the dream. How about yourself?
Fine, thank you. It's wonderful to have you on board. And it's wonderful to have all the listeners of Salam Radio listen to you and your story. And you were the one that actually started this vision with other friends of Peterborough Prime. But before I ask you about that, I want to ask about you. Tell my listeners a little bit about yourself.
My name is Nabil, and I was born and raised in Kenya, moved into the UK, specifically Peterborough, of course, about 2017. Completed my studies here, completed my GCSEs, my college qualifications, and alhamdulillah, I've just been working myself around to get myself into employment and gain that experience to develop myself. And now I feel my experience can support others as well. So that's one way to actually get it out there, and that's why thank you for having me as well. That's what I would like to say. But no, I just like to actually support others and guide them into the right path, because it's the only way forward, and it's not for other people only, but it's also for our deen and for our one creator. So yeah.
Yeah, and you know, that's what I really like about you, Nabil, the fact that you have attributed, which works beautifully with the radio show at this moment in time, that we do things on a voluntary basis and for the good of mankind and for the pleasure of our creator as well. How very well spoken. And you've spoken about yourself in Kenya. Tell me a little bit about life in Kenya growing up. It was obviously a lot more warmer than what it was here, what it is here in the UK.
Absolutely. Kenya is beautiful. I would say it's a dream, and it's a dream come and gone. And I feel like if I were to ever retire, possibly I'll move back there, to be honest. But alhamdulillah, I'm pleased to say that I've got family down in Peterborough, and I've got great friends. I've built a great network in Peterborough, and alhamdulillah, I feel like I'm at home in Peterborough itself. So as much as I would love to move back to Kenya, I think my heart is in Peterborough now.
Oh, that's wonderful. And I feel the same way as well. What year did you move into Peterborough?
About 2017. So at that time, I was possibly about 16, just before I turned 16, really, to be fair. So I was about 15, 16, yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, they do say about Peterborough, whoever comes to Peterborough doesn't leave Peterborough. So once you're here, you are here to stay.
Absolutely.
And it's great. And it's great meeting people like yourself who obviously think of Peterborough as your home. And it is our home.
It is.
Peterborough has embraced many people from many different backgrounds. And that's what's great about this city, that we have a city that is a beautiful, I often say this in a lot of public platforms as well, that Peterborough is a beautiful patchwork quilt of so many people from diverse communities. And we've got to celebrate that, right?
Absolutely.
We've got to celebrate our identities, who we are, be proud of who we are as well.
It's important, especially to encourage the young youth as well, because they're our future, and it's important to actually acknowledge the efforts of the current community leaders, organizations that actually contribute their volunteering time, and how it's. What I'll just say is that it's not an easy way to actually, because there's family commitments, there's work, and there's if you're a business owner, it's different as well. So they've got those contributions they have to commit to, but at the same time, they've got that space in their heart that they want to contribute back to the community that we all love. And I think it's important to inspire the younger generation, because they're going to be our future. And if these people are not there to guide them, then it's just going to be a blank future, really. So it's important to actually inspire these young generation. And myself being very young, well, I say I am young, but I feel like it's a starting step, it's a stepping stone, and it is going to be a lot of challenges. There are going to be a lot of challenges, and it's just really hard to say what the future is going to hold for us all. But I think with the right team, with the right people, and with the right vision and mindset, I think you'll be able to succeed in what you want to achieve.
I think that's really well said. And actually, even before we start talking about Peterborough Prime and the whole mental health aspect, you talk a lot about youth. You talk about helping the youth, making a future for them. As a young person who lives in Peterborough, and obviously somebody who has grown up in Peterborough, have you felt that there was always a lack of opportunity? Has there been a gap for that? And as a young person, do you feel that a lot more could have been done when you were growing up as well?
I don't believe in scrutinizing any individual or organization, and
Sure.
I do say this quite often. It's important to acknowledge the hard efforts contributed by the organizations and the community leaders, whatnot. But as technology is developing, I think it's played a massive impact on in our generation, really. And it's very important to also understand what it holds for the future, because the younger generation, a majority of them are either going the wrong. There's two ways about it. There's either the left and the right. You either follow the right path and achieve what you want to, what you look to do in the future. But if you go into the other path, then it's very hard to come out of it. And I think the existing organizations that are already out there, they're doing an extremely amazing job to actually support these young youth, especially like organizations such as we've got the Healthy Youth that has just come in, has been introduced recently. I'm not too sure how long they've been there for the past, but they actually support the younger generation with their smoking, because a lot of the younger generations these days are actually getting into these vapes and e-cigarettes, and it's not very ideal, or it's not very healthy, or something. It's not the right thing to do, basically.
No.
And it's important to guide them into the right way, because they're our future at the end of the day. So if we don't support them or guide them, no one will.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think that it's important that we talk about that. There are so many aspects in young people those young people who are facing issues today, whether that be from an academic level, an emotional level, a practical level, that there are so many facets that can be addressed. And you're absolutely right. We have so many organizations and organizations that actually work in the third sector as well that could help and empower young people. But there's always more to be done, isn't there? There
Absolutely.
always is. There's room.
I feel there's always more room for anyone or everyone to contribute their 1% of volunteering work, or because mental health is a massive stigma these days, and especially within our generation, because unfortunately we fall back onto a cultural stigma as well, that where we can't speak about it. And it's important to speak up about your mental health, because if you're not talking about your mental health, then you feel like your entire life is breaking down, and it feels like you have nowhere else to go. And that's why I feel like the rates have increased, the suicide rates have increased over the past years, especially within Peterborough, and majority of them are young people.
Yeah. That then takes me to my question about Peterborough Prime.
Yeah.
What made you, Nabil, think about Peterborough? First, tell us a little bit about what Peterborough Prime is. What is it?
So Peterborough Prime is currently a community interest company, which has a vision to acquire the charitable status. This is an organisation that will be supporting the local communities with free mental health diagnosis and therapy services. This will be able to provide a easier and accessible route for local communities, and not only for the communities, but also ease the stress and the waiting times with the NHS, because currently, as we speak, there is about a 2 to 3 year waiting time for appointments at the city hospital, and families are struggling with a lot of mental health issues. There's a lot of mental health incidents that I witnessed across city centre on my way to work. So I feel if we're able to provide a open, free of charge, and accessible mental health service, I think we will be able to deliver and support and give the right guidance to those individuals that are suffering in silence.
You are right about mental health. The reason why you're right about mental health is that we've seen a COVID pandemic as well that has resulted in a huge amount of mental health issues coming to the fore. And also that has led to not only just mental health problems, but the observance of a new kind of mental health as a result of social isolation that happened during the pandemic and in lockdown, where so many people were isolated from their loved ones. So you're right about mental health, the fact that it is a growing problem as well. It is a huge undertaking, isn't it, to
Absolutely.
be able to provide a service alongside, because it's free of cost, as you say, alongside the NHS, and to diagnose and treat such people. So that infrastructure in mind, do you have any aims or objectives of how you were going to start, first of all? Where would you start? Would it be with another organisation? Would you be working with the NHS? What's your vision?
So my vision is to break the stigma of suffering in silence, and that falls as an entire agenda with Peterborough Prime itself. So I feel like there's a lot that can be done with existing organisations, Don't get me wrong, there is brilliant and beautiful work being done. Um, I have been able to create strong relationships with existing charities across the city, and I'm pleased to inform you that that will continue. That doesn't mean that we have just built that partnership. We will just stop what we're doing. We will continue to actually learn from each other. We will try to understand what is being missed out on and how we can fill that gap. And I think right now the gap is the support of mental health services. Unfortunately, I feel like the Metropolitan Police just not long ago did take a step back as well from responding to mental health incidents, and I have got great friends who are police officers as well, and they tell having when speaking to them they feel that it's not their job, and nurses have actually even taken. I feel like Cambridgeshire Constabulary had a mental health incident pool car where nurses were getting assaulted at mental health incidents, and we're just going back and forward in circles, and we're not providing the right accessible support to individuals that need the mental health guidance. And if we can do it, why can't we work together, really, to be fair? Because I think teamwork is very important, and like to say, teamwork makes the dream work, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And it's all about contributing together and moving forward together, really.
Yeah, and I agree with you. And here's the issue, you see, Nabil, because I'm a GP, as I say to people. By the way, if you've just joined in, this is Dr Shabina Asad Qayyum for the Body Health and Mind Show on Salam Radio 106.2 FM. I have Nabil Ilahi with me, the director of Peterborough Prime, and we are talking about mental health. So give us a call on 01733 602 133. You can text us on the WhatsApp number 07411 191062. And you can comment on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. Come on, guys, start commenting, because the fact of the matter is, every time I'm here alone, you start filling up that screen on Facebook with comments. And now I want to see your comments. You're not commenting. We need some company over here. So please do start to send us some comments. We want to hear what you have to say about mental health, what your experiences have been with mental health services. We want feedback from you. Have you ever been involved with somebody who has had a mental health problem and needed accessibility to mental health services? Have you tried to get an appointment with your GP, people like me? Have you seen any hurdles, any hindrances, any obstructions to gaining any help whatsoever? Please do let us know. So put your comments in the chat. Do let us know how you feel. It's really important that we have lived experiences of those people like yourselves who may have had experience of a mental health problem. Now, here's the issue that I was talking about, Nabil, before I introduced the program again. And that is that we have GP services, unfortunately, who have a great problem with accessibility. And it's not just within Peterborough, it's throughout the country as well.
Absolutely.
You then have, as you rightly say, waiting lists at the hospital, which are multifactorial. It could be as a result of, obviously, increased waiting times in A&E. It could be because of people not being discharged in a timely manner, and that filters down into other things like delays to operation. However, mental health and mental health hospitals have those patients who are acutely unwell, who need there and then treatment. Those patients that have suffered a crisis incident, for example, that are acutely suicidal, who are a threat to themselves or to the public as well. It's a vast spectrum, mental health, where you have anywhere from anxiety, depression, to those people who have psychosis, schizophrenia, the more complex issues, right up until the extremes of age where you have patients who have dementia, because that's also considered to be. Now, is there a facet of mental health that you want to tackle in the immediate future, or is it generalized mental health Or do you have a sort of a boundary whereby your organization won't have the resource at the moment to be able to deal with the more complex issues like schizophrenia, etc.? Because I can't do that as a GP. I can't deal with people who have schizophrenia. I don't have the expertise. So I usually put my hands up and say I'm going to send them to a specialist. What facet or what area of mental health are you hoping to help people with?
So we have intentions to support with moderate cases. As we are a startup charity, it's very important that to acknowledge that we have a certain budget that we can work with. And at the minute, I feel like if we can work with these moderate cases and support our local communities, and we can actually prove a point to local authorities, the NHS, that we can actually get the job done, and we are contributing and we are meeting the expectations they have from us as well. I feel once we are able to actually gain their trust, we will be able to actually take on more cases, and I feel like we'll be able to take more severe cases. But my job role in Peterborough Prime is to actually make sure that the organization is compliant and following the right track, you see. So I'm a type of person that actually plans ahead. So before, and I also plan for the worst case scenario, what could go wrong. And it's important to actually do that, because you need to be able to develop a route or a way back and try to create a alternative route immediately to divert it, you see. And it's very challenging to actually try to deal with mental health. It's a very broad topic to talk about, and quite very sensitive to certain people, and so it shouldn't be taken lightly, I feel. And it's important to actually be very cautious before we start talking about mental health, because there's individuals that have their children who are, bless them, autistic, and they've got and it's not something they've asked for, you see.
Yeah.
We don't ask to have mental health problems. We don't ask to have healthcare problems. It's just natural and it's important to acknowledge that mental health problems is normal, you see, because if we try to actually criticize or scrutinize the mental health and it not being a health disorder, it's very, how would I put it? It's very hard to say that what I would say is that it's very hard to actually put it out there to those families that actually care about their loved ones with mental health.
Yeah.
So it's very important to actually be cautious about it before you actually talk about mental health and do anything about mental health, because if you haven't experienced it yourself or you don't have a loved one, you wouldn't know about it. So
that's true. Mental health is incredibly common though, isn't it? We know 1 in 4 people currently within the UK will suffer from depression at least once in their lifetime. Those are staggering statistics for a 70 million population, which means that we were doing the maths earlier on and I couldn't do it, could I? So if that's 1 in 4 people, I'm not going to try and work out the percentage of people. However, it's a quarter, 1 in 4. Yeah, it's a quarter, isn't it, of people. It's 70 million people, quarters. Don't laugh at me, just because I don't know my maths. But yeah, a quarter of 70 million are actually suffering from mental health at some point in their life, which is a staggering statistic. So what we need to do is talk about how we are going to tackle it. And there are different facets. Now, Peterborough Prime in itself is great with wanting to try and organise workshops, which we will talk about after the break, hopefully, because we've got 1 more minute that's coming up to the break. And I think what we would like to do is after the break, it would be good to answer some questions as well that are filtering through on my phone. and also to talk a little bit more about your experiences whilst you're in Peterborough Prime with various mental health issues, how you have helped them, so that people know the importance of this organisation and how you need help, how you want to be supported. I think that's very important for all of those people that are watching, so that we know how we can help you, so that you can help us better. And I think that
Absolutely.
that would be a great precedent to set to try and make this organisation successful. So I'm really glad you've come onto the show. And for those that are listening, don't just listen. Pick up the phone after the break and join me and Nabil Ilahi, the director of Peterborough Prime, to talk everything to do with mental health. So we will be back after this small ad break.
Stay tuned to Salam Radio after this short ad break.
You could be driving, you might be cooking, you could even be working. But whatever you're doing, you're also listening to Salam Radio. And if you're in business, your potential new customers could be listening too. So talk to them and let them know what you have to offer. Advertising on Salam Radio is affordable and effective. And by doing so, you're also supporting this valuable and important voice within the community. Call 07866 319 679 or find Salam Radio online and across social media.
Worried your tenants could stop paying their rent during this cost of living crisis? Next Move Estate and Letting Agents are offering landlords 12 months rent in advance. You'll get your rent paid for the whole year in advance. No strings attached. Too good to be true? It really is that simple. So get in touch with us today for this extremely limited offer. Call Next Move now on 01733 641 642 to find out how we can help.
Do you own a restaurant or takeaway? Cater Fair is an expert supplier of new and used commercial catering equipment. Visit caterfair.co.uk for quality equipment on sale at the lowest prices, or call us on 01733 310 115 or visit us at 11 Royce Road, Fengate, Peterborough.
Peterborough. Who said good quality fried and grilled chicken has to be expensive? At Sam's, we take pride in every piece of chicken that leaves our kitchen. Just one bite of our chicken or burgers is all it takes to realise we are the best. Visit us at our brand new place at 333 Lincoln Road, PE1 2PF. Or order a delivery through Just Eat, Uber or Deliveroo. Sam's, the home of great tasting chicken for over 30 years.
Are you a savvy shopper searching for the best food deals? Look no further. Adams Cash and Carry can help you save big. We're not just a food wholesaler for takeaways and restaurants. We also welcome household customers at our warehouse in Westwood, Peterborough. Visit our website and enjoy wholesale prices on everything from drinks to flour, rice to burgers and much more. To shop, go online and collect in store. Visit adamscashandcarry.co.uk today to start your savings spree.
Bite into something wonderfully tasty at Big Mouth, 349 Lincoln Road in Peterborough. Eating in, for takeaway or delivery, Big Mouth now have a delicious new menu full of all your favourites. Crispy fried chicken, juicy smashed burgers, finger-licking piri-piri chicken, handmade pizzas, quality doner meat and so much more. So visit the family-friendly Big Mouth restaurant for fantastically fresh food. Call 01733 201020 or visit getbigmouthonline.com.
If you want to learn about Islam and Muslims, stay tuned to Salam Radio 106.2 FM.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back after the break of this Body, Health and Mind show on Salam Radio 106.2 FM. I have the wonderful Mr. Nabil Ilahi, who is the Director of Directors of Peterborough Prime, which is an organisation that seeks to look after mental health issues within our city. It is a new organisation. It's a wonderful organisation. It needs support. It's got a vision. It's got the people behind it. So actually, we do need to support organisations like this as well. And before the break, Nabil was talking a little bit about how his vision is for this organisation and talking about mental health in general. We were talking about accessibility. We were talking about how there are vast areas of mental health that do need addressing. We were talking about the young. But if you have just joined this second half of the show, call us, have a chat with us on 01733 602 133, or you can text us on 07411 191062. And you can also comment on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter or Twitch. We have shared this to different platforms, and I've also shared it to the Muslim of Peterborough Facebook page, Peterborough Women's Association, wonderful organisation. I'd like to give them a shout out as well. And to my own personal Facebook page where I have more than 5,000 people. So talk about mental health. We know that it's common. We know that it's an issue. So why aren't we doing anything about it? Well, I can tell you right now that Peterborough Prime wants to do something about it. And that's why I've got Nabil here with me. Nabil, would you like to share with our listeners, please, some of your experiences since being in Peterborough Prime? Obviously, you can't give patient details, which is good, don't. But what are some of the issues that you've come across and in your capacity you've tried to help with? Because I know often you've picked the phone up to me and spoken to me and run things past me, which I've been hugely grateful for, and you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
So could you talk a little bit about some of the things that you've done?
So trying to set up an organisation, especially with mental health, it's very complex and challenging. So I feel like there isn't any services or organisations. As I said earlier on the show before the break, I don't believe in scrutiny or anything of sort, but I feel there isn't any support towards healthcare services or especially to young entrepreneurs or young people who want to volunteer their time. There isn't enough guidance to actually set up organization, like especially within healthcare and especially with mental health, or setting up a charity, because it's important to actually try to understand what needs to be done, how it can be done, and there's a lot of legalities behind it as well. So you don't want to miss out on one thing and fall back again to square one. And this is what I've personally been finding very challenging, and trying to get volunteers out to come out. I feel, especially when we took part in the Turkey and Syria earthquake appeal, we are trying to support as much as we can by taking part in local and international support, especially with where we can build. We can try and bring Peterborough back onto the map as a very supportive city. And I feel when we ran through that appeal of the Turkey and Syria earthquake, and I feel it was very beautiful to watch, and it was to actually experience our first campaign that we ran through. The city was very united.
Mm-hmm.
Mashallah, I would like to say that a lot of people did donate, and we did struggle with trying to get things across to Syria. However, I'm pleased to inform the members of the public, whoever donated to our drop-off points, we were able to actually deliver those goods at the right time, at the right place, and to the right people that actually really needed it at the most
Yeah.
And we are currently trying to support not only with mental health, but also rough sleepers and homelessness as well. So, yes, I would like to give massive credit to organizations that are actually currently doing it, such as the Light Project. We've got a organization, Safer Off the Streets, that Peterborough Prime is actually looking to go into partnership with, to support and learn what is being done and what's not been done. And from my meetings and conversations with them, they have actually turned around and told me that they are struggling with mental health support. They are struggling with trying to get them back into employment and education. And that is the vision we have, to actually give them the right guidance and prevent people being homeless and being on the streets. Because I've engaged with a lot of community members, and within the city centre, they're very frustrated with how it's very clear and transparent that you can see the substance misuse and the alcohol, and it's not really ideal for families to go out to, and it shouldn't be like that. And yes, the local authorities are trying to do their best, and the organisations such as Aspire, CGL, down opposite the magistrates in city centre, they're trying to do their best to support individuals, but there's so much local authorities and organisations like Aspire can do as well, because this is all self-engagement, and this is a big problem that we, as charity organisations, local try to support with, because especially with mental health, it's very challenging, because trying to engage with someone who's got mental health problems is not easy, because they have to, according to law, they have to actually be self-engaging, and we can't force someone to engage with us. They have to self-engage, and it makes it very challenging for us all, and especially for the families, because it's very heartbreaking to see the pain the families go through, and because they would want the best and the right help for their loved ones.
That's correct, yes. We've just got some comments that have come in. We have
Sure.
Dr. Asad Chowdhury, who has said that mental health is an important topic to discuss and create awareness about. Thank you very much, Dr. Asad. It's wonderful to have you on board, and I'd really like to actually give kudos to my colleague, Dr. Asad Chowdhury, because he has been awarded Trainer of the Year in his practice
brilliant.
at Thistlemore. So yeah, he's going leaps and bounds and leaving us all behind, Dr. Chowdhury. You really are, but you're an inspiration to all of us, and it's wonderful to see. So thank you very much for all the work that you're doing. And obviously, he is somebody who is a part of an organisation that I'm a part of, known as the Mosque Health Champions. So if there's anything in mental health that we can promote, we can have a look at that as well. But they're doing some great work in the mosques over the next coming weeks as well. And that's something that was worth promoting as well. So we can have a look at that too.
I think Mr. Chaudhry did mention it on the Eid announcement as well, to be fair, in the Faisal Medina. Yes, I do remember that. I feel like Dr. Asad Chaudhry as well has contributed amazing work to the community with his diabetes workshops and etc. And I feel if I'm able to work with yourself, Dr. Asad Chaudhry, and so many other colleagues of yours, and with professionals within mental health, I think we'll be able to work together and deliver this and break the stigma of suffering in silence, really.
Yes, and that's another great reason why it's so good to get involved in projects that obviously are going to have bigger positive outcomes. Yeah. So absolutely. So thank you very much for your kind words, Dr. Chowdhury. We've also got Jason McNally. Evening to you both. Good evening, Jason. It is wonderful to have you on board. Jason grows. Well, Jason doesn't grow honey. I'm so sorry. That is so silly of me to say, because honey doesn't grow. Honey is made by bees. So Jason is a beekeeper who lives in our great city of Peterborough. And he, because of his bees, he makes his own honey. Is that the right word to say? Honey is made by itself. So Jason is a beekeeper and he has his own honey. That is better. So, yeah, thank you very much for joining, Jason and Dr. Chowdhury. It's wonderful to have you. I do have a comment, so I'm going to read it out to you.
Sure.
Thank you very much for a wonderful show. It is great to see young people like Nabil, who wants to do a lot for the community. My question is, as somebody who suffers from depression and has only been going to my GP, they tend to stick you on medications and then forget about you. It's impossible to get an appointment for counselling. There are months of waiting lists. What is it that your organisation can help offer people like me?
To answer your question, firstly, I would like to say thank you for your comment. To answer your question, I would say is that we don't believe in the pharmaceutical sides of things. So with the medication, and we feel that that is just prolonging the mental health, and it's just we are just going back and forward in circles towards the medication side of things. So whereas with Peterborough Prime, you'll be able to actually access mental health services where you'd undergo a triage appointment and undergo a diagnosis, and once we establish what sort of mental health that you're suffering from, we will be able to provide you free therapy sessions until you'll be allocated 10 free therapy sessions. So where you can, your key worker will be working closely with your therapist to establish, and once we're able to actually give that right support, we will support them and encourage them back into education if that's what they want, or try to get them into drama and arts, because we've gone into partnership with a what's it called, the a production company as well, which is promoting charitable work in areas of trying to get young people into music, into drama, whatnot. So for example, if your loved one would like to actually engage in drama or arts or music, we can encourage them into to actually move forward towards those sides of things. Like a close friend of mine, Brother Atik from Unspoken, he's supporting the children with Down syndrome into boxing, and these are the little things that actually contribute towards mental health, because I feel like the boxing match he had, the first match he had actually encouraged Reese. He had a rematch again a couple months ago, and Reese actually knocked Atik out, which I was not
no, you shouldn't be
surprised
laughing. We shouldn't be laughing if Brother Atik's been knocked out. That's really rude. Sorry, Brother Atik, if you're listening to this. It's just because it was you, because you're always smiling and laughing. Just having that vision of you being knocked out was just, I don't know. It just didn't seem real for some moment in time. But if it was, and if you got hurt, I am really sorry.
I mean, I was Team Reese anyway, so sorry, Atik, about this. But this is small things that contribute towards encouraging young people into sports, arts, education, because a lot of people feel that they are isolated from being able to engage with others from their age, or they feel like they're isolated from the community. That they shouldn't feel that way.
Yeah.
So so after going through those therapy sessions, we will encourage your loved ones to actually move forward, and we will still provide care for them after the therapy sessions. So this is what makes it different from being discharged from the NHS city hospitals or your GPs. This is what is different about Prime.
Yeah.
And with Peterborough Prime, we give you that aftercare, and that will be until you self-discharge yourself. So we will continue to provide the right support, the right guidance, and encourage you. That also means even if it's like a quick 5-minute phone call that you'd want to engage with us and just speak to someone, we will be there for you. So it's not long left until we're able to establish ourselves and the services to our local communities.
Yeah.
That vision is coming to reality very soon, and with the right support and right guidance like yourself, Dr. Shabina, and your colleagues, I feel we'll be able to deliver this vision and provide the right support to the community.
Of course, it would be a pleasure to do so. Now, we have some more questions here. It's wonderful. Okay, so we have, before I read out the question from Sister Nadia Abdurrahman, I'm just going to go and talk about, so Jason McNally says that he harvests the honey, which is great. And we have a Mr. David Garner. He's such a lovely chap, and he makes Peterborough smile with his jokes. So I'm going to read his joke out after we answer Sister Nadia's question. So hold fire, David. We will be with you very soon. But the highlight of a lot of my shows are he will put a medical joke on, and it has me in stitches every time. And I'm just reading this, and I was about to laugh during the show, but I can't do that. So I'm going to read out Sister Nadia Abdurrahman's message. Thank you so much for tuning in, Sister Nadia. It's wonderful to hear from you. And you did some great work with iCare. Amazing and fabulous organisation. I'm ever so proud of all of you. So a shout out to all of you as well. So Sister Nadia asks, hey, salam, Sis Shabs. We have so many young people with anxiety. Are you able to offer counselling to them? And that's right. We do have so many young people with anxiety in the school settings. Are you able to offer counselling to those young people?
So I would be pleased to inform Sister Nadia that Peterborough Prime will not only seclude itself to only adult services, but we will do our level best to support the younger generation as well. So we are not secluded to one community group or one religious background or any cultural background or any age group or anything of so. It is quite a broad service. So when I say that, we are open to service to all. And I think we'll be able to provide, I feel once we've actually established ourselves within the mental health sector, we will be able to support anyone who needs our service.
Sure. But that's going to be a huge undertaking. So would you intend on going into schools and offering that counselling service? How would it work? So
I do have an amazing team as my backbone. And I will be pleased to inform you that I'm slowly engaging with schools as well. So the first school that I've actually approached so far at the minute is City of Peterborough Academy. I've also I do have intentions to approach the Jack Hunt School and the Thomas Deacon Academy and St. John Fisher and so many other more. I am also going to be approaching local private tuition centres. I'm also going to be approaching local colleges as well to see if we can try to actually have mental health workshops as an educational platform to teach the younger generation about mental health and to tell them that it's not something that they should be suffering in silence with. They should actually seek out and the right support and the right help that they need, and we will be able to guide them into with the right support. We will be able to guide them through the challenges they are facing, so we can actually make their dream come true, really.
Yeah, and I think that it's a huge undertaking, and I really hope and I pray that the organisation expands to the extent that it's able to deliver on that, because it's so right. And I've always said, and I think that Sister Nadia will agree with me, that happy children and happy young people make for healthy adults and healthy outcomes as well. And we see so many people in elderly ages or adults who have underlying health problems, but also have depression and a mental health problem, which makes their physical ailments so much more worse. So I really hope that your organisation goes to the heights of success, that it is able to deliver on those things. That's my genuine wish for you. And I hope that that's answered your question as well, Sister Nadia. So I'm going to read out the joke from David. You're not allowed to laugh, okay? So let's see if you laugh at this. So David says, I had a call from the hospital today. Apparently my blood test shows I have monkeypox. They've asked me to swing by the surgery. Well, David, you always tickle our funny bones there. So thank you very much for being part of my show as always. And giving these lovely moments of happiness. We need more Davids in the world. We definitely do. And then I also have a comment here from Brother Javed Akhtar, who has recently been on Hajj. And Hajj Mubarak to you, and may your du'as be accepted. And you know, it was lovely because this brother was in contact with me whilst he was away, and said that he had made dua for me whilst he was in Makkah. So it was amazing. And I cannot tell you how grateful I am, Brother Jawed, for that and for the love that you've shown. And I also saw the wonderful welcome that your children gave you when you came back. And that was very heartwarming to see. So I feel very privileged and honoured that you could give me some space and time in your life to be able to think about me and my family whilst you're away on Hajj. Thank you so much. You are a very, very good human being indeed. Thank you. And Sister Nadia, looking forward to working with you, Nabil Ilahi. Thanks for a great show. You are very welcome. And our show is all the more better for people like yourself, Sister Nadia, and every one of you that is commenting on this wonderful show that we've had with Nabil Ilahi. It's been great. We've struck up some great conversation. Now, in the last couple of minutes, Nabil, we've got 6 minutes to the end of the show. You've spoken about Peterborough Prime. You've spoken about some of the things that you aim to do and wish to do as well. What is it that you would like to see from the public or from various? What else help do you need to help establish yourself to the extent that you would wish to see this organisation flourish and operate?
I would firstly like to say congratulations and Hajj Mubarak to Brother Javed. And
Hajj Mubarak.
And I would also, in regards to answer your question, Dr. Shabina, in regards to Prime and what support we seek, I feel at the minute the main issue we are struggling with is funding. That is possibly one. It's something that I try to avoid.
It's one of the main things. I always tell you that.
It is definitely one of the main things, but and it's something that I was certainly trying to avoid throughout the show. But I think you already beat me up to it.
We'll keep on fighting the fight for funding, that's for sure.
But I feel like if everyone can join in the voice of Peterborough Prime, we believe in the communities. We believe in you. So my message out to members of the public, the listeners of Salam Radio, come and join me in fighting this vision against suffering in silence. And I think if we're able to work together as a team, we'll be able to deliver more than expected. And certainly, I am looking for healthcare professionals to volunteer their time and towards our mental health workshops that we are going to be introducing in the next couple of weeks, actually, that where we are promoting mental health awareness and education, providing tips and advice from professionals like Dr. Shabina and Dr. Azad Chaudhry and colleagues as well. But if you don't have a mental health background or you're not even a professional, that's totally fine. Please feel free to message me on Facebook, Nabil Ilahi. I will forward you, or please do contact Dr. Shabina as well if you like. Anyone from Peterborough Prime will be able to support you with the volunteering application form, and it will be on our website on peterboroughrprime.com. This volunteering application means that you're contributing your time for your community. You're supporting those who need the help, especially with mental health. And it's not an issue if you're not if you don't have a healthcare background. It doesn't matter if you have if you don't have the right training or you're not a qualified individual. We can provide you that professional training. We can give you the right guidance, and possibly if you do look up to actually start working with Peterborough Prime as an employee as well, we will definitely consider that in the later future. But my message out to everyone right now is, if there's anyone out there suffering with mental health, please do seek out support. Please do not sit there by yourself. Please talk to someone or talk to someone that you love, and make sure that you have a great day and keep smiling. thank you for Dr. Shabina and Salam Radio and brother Faisal. Yes, for having me today. And
Ali.
yes, Ali, the manager, who has actually done an amazing job. Didn't know he was only 17, bless him, mashallah.
Yeah, he's only 17. He's a wonderful young boy, and I wonder why I can only see the top of his head because he's shy. And if he's there he is. He's smiling. So he's a lovely young boy, and thank you so much for coming on board. We've got literally a minute now before the show ends, and we're going to be back again next week for another great show on
Inshallah.
Salam Radio. Give me your ideas. We've spoken about mental health. We've spoken about Peterborough Prime. Let Peterborough Prime flourish, grow with the health professionals, the help that Nabil needs to put Peterborough on the map, as he has said, to make sure that nobody suffers in silence as a result of mental health problems. Nobody has to suffer from mental health. Let's start from the young age upwards and make sure that Peterborough is a place where everybody wants to live, work and spend the rest of their days. From me, Dr Shabina Asad Qayyum. Assalamu alaikum.